Yes, because now I see why. Because it was probably maybe a corporate model or something like that that I bought, because it had the normal mold, but it just didn't have antennas or aerials or anything like that.
It's not because they'd fallen out, right? And sometimes the packaging looks different on those as well.
Right, it was.
Yeah, would you like to talk about like all those different airline blocks? Like Qantas over there is white, and then obviously Southwest is white. So did the airlines make that decision?
Yes, they that's the way they want them.
Like Air France is really unique. They don't even put the aircraft types on site. It's just Air France and the CGI of the plane.
Yeah, we work with a distributor in France called Shotcut.
Okay.
And that's the way they want the boxes. So they get the licensing and they deal with all that. So look, if it appeases them and we move models, okay, fine. We'll just take a little logo on the back.
So where does the balance actually end up coming from GeminiJets then? It's like, okay, we wanted our traditional way relative to, okay, the airline can do it their way. Is it a really good balance, or is it more towards let the airline do what they want, or how does that usually function?
I won't get into my personal preference because, we try to appease the airlines. We'll put it that way. We try to work as partners with the airlines and Boeing. And some airlines are more hands-on than others. They're very involved in the process and what models we produce, and others aren't. Is my stomach sticking out or something?
No, you're fine.
Sure.
You're good. No, you're good.
You can't even see it because you can't even see
Okay,
it.
good.
Yeah, I don't think
Like my underwear's sticking out of my shorts or something. Where was I? Got way off.
You were
track
talking about
here.
the airlines and how you were sticking to making them happy.
Yeah,
on the boxes.
we try to, when we work with airlines, Boeing, or whoever our client is, we try to appease them. And sometimes we're working with an Air Force base, and so they have something special they want, and it's a split. Well, they'll buy so much of a production run, and then we'll sell the rest commercially. So we'll do something special for the base or whatever entity it is. And some models never are released commercially, like the Prime Air 767s. Amazon reserves those simply for their own use, and they won't let us release them commercially as a result.
Yeah, that's really nice. How about we really bounce off topics here? Every person that you're looking at right here found this convention and these model airplanes through YouTube or Instagram. Now, myself as well, it was really cool to see those guys like GeminiJets 13 and others that made model airports and were able to show it off for the world at a time when I was young and didn't have money, couldn't collect, and every one of them were also in the same boat as well. I was just curious what your thoughts on that were, obviously, since you were just buying a model just to get it for your friend. How do you feel about how other people have been getting into the hobby by watching videos online and finally making it a reality to come to these trade shows along with just collecting in general? What do you think about that?
I think it's amazing. It's wonderful. I got into this solely by accident, and so people who stumble across your aviation videos on your channel, Red River Aviation, or they see Sam Chewy visiting me in Las Vegas, however it is, a lot of people come in, and it's called discovery in marketing, and that's why we're continuously posting on socials every single day, more than once, because you never know who's going to see it and realize, oh, there's a hobby that has models of what I see at the airport or what I just flew on a trip, and you potentially gain a new collector just by a simple post or by word of mouth or a video they happen to see.
So let's go one step farther from that. So I have one topic that's came up several times, and I'm just curious if you have any knowledge on it. What about some of these die-cast models in airports? Has that came up several times?
That's something.
Tried? What's going on with that?
We'd love to do that.
That would be cool.
It's just cost prohibitive. I every time I walk into a Hudson News at an airport, I see the Dare on toys, and it should be GeminiJets up there. But those Dare on toys are priced at retail, maybe a little higher, but they're generally about $15 a piece. The collectibles are priced, as you know, upwards of $50 and beyond. And so you put yourself in the place of a shopkeeper at an airport.
It's not feasible.
And the overhead they have to pay for the lease, the rental of the space, every month, their margins just aren't there. You know, they'd have to charge so much for a model, especially look at something like this.
Right, yeah.
You know, they'd have to charge
But
so
it has
much.
been cool to see one really good example. The DFW American Airlines company stores started carrying GeminiJets, which
Yeah.
I think is really cool to see.
Yeah.
And, you know, if we could, do you think that we'll start seeing more outlets like that in the future? Where
I would
it's
love to,
realistic? I mean,
yeah.
that's so cool. When I go to
Yeah.
Dallas, I'm like, oh, I got to make stop at the company store to see what they
Yeah.
have this time or what new releases.
I'm
I get.
glad you do, yeah.
I mean, it's cool. I really hope we see more of that going forward. I mean, it's really cool to look forward to that, and obviously so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So let's see. Does anybody here have any questions that they would like? Shiv, go ahead.
So you know, with the new Air India livery, how are you guys gonna, you know, replicate some of the stuff like with the 777s and all that they fly? You know how Air India has that new like modern livery they came out with? Yeah.
Well, there's a 350 model. The other
Yeah, the 350.
Yeah, we have the
350.
A350s in both scales now.
Yeah.
And we did it Air India Express 737 Max in 400 scale. Competitor did it in 200 scale, so I think that's covered. One of the problems for us and in the hobby in general, it's hard to get models into India because it's so costly. Their import fees, like a lot of countries,
appreciate
are
that, but I
so
do have
high.
my one internship.
And then the shipping costs,
I know
that's
you
number
have
2
one.
factor. Someone's really having a good time in Europe.
I probably
What's
can't
going
take
on
on another
over
one
there?
right now, but I really
But
appreciate
probably
it.
something more into next summer.
Yeah,
Possibly,
how
yeah,
was-
you can
how
send me
was
some
it
stuff.
working? Did you work with them to create the new like A350, you know, like the livery on that, or did you guys just do that yourself and release it?
The coloring?
Yeah, the coloring and all
Try to
that.
work with the airlines to get the official colors. Yeah, and sometimes that's not possible, but most of the time it is. And we'll dig to find whoever's responsible for that with an airline.
How about we dive into another concept that's an interesting one that we've always thought about?
You sure you have enough record time left?
I have like 50 gigabytes on there. I purposely cleared it this one, so, and I'll go.
I'm
push
gonna
them.
have him buy my new phone for me.
Sure, no, not a problem. So, 1 to 400, 1 to 200 releases. Sometimes there's an aircraft that doesn't make it to 1 to 400 or vice versa. One example I can think of is like a Frontier 320 Neo Flower to Hummingbird. Never came out of 1 to 400. So, is there any, does Elliot decide that, or is that like a corporate decision, or how does that end up going down?
Sometimes it's just an oversight, to be honest.
So, just so many models getting produced, it's like, well, we forgot to do it in 1 to 400.
Yeah,
So
it could be, or we work in conjunction with JC Wings for a lot of the releases, and they'll make one scale, we'll make the other in some cases. But I think in the case of that, it was just an oversight.
Okay.
Yeah,
Interesting.
because I could easily see
It's relatively
Flower the
consistent
Hummingbird
in
coming out
some
in 4 scale.
form of it that within 3 months an aircraft comes out in 1 to 400 will come out in 1 to 200.
Yeah.
And vice versa for the most part. For sure by 6 months for almost every example. So
Yeah.
I was just curious on that. And then let's see. What are the great questions? Is there going to be any more airport accessories or new airport concourses coming out? Has that been explored? Or what's going on with the non-model side for GeminiJets right now?
I would love to see some new GSE.
Me too.
And so we're looking into that. A tower to go with our
That'd be
400
really
scale
great,
airports.
for sure.
We've looked, and what we've gotten from manufacturers, like specs that they send, Elliot just hasn't felt that they're right, and they need to really match what we have. You know, we've gone with kind of this coral green scheme
Color,
on the
yeah.
color on the airport terminals. Well, the tower really needs to match. It needs to complement that. Maybe tan or sand color, beige, and definitely a modern style. We haven't found one we've liked yet. And then there's also the cost. You know, how much it's going to cost us to make
Right.
per piece, and how much we're going to have to sell it for.
Right. So many factors go into that.
Yeah.
Let's see. What else can I come up with off the spot? Oh, yes. Are you ready to interrupt? What are you here to interrupt about?
This must
Why
be
don't
a
you ask
loaded
that question since
He's-
it's yours,
he's
not mine?
whispering.
He's wondering what happened to GeminiJets 2.
Oh.
Oh.
Why would you bring that up, man?
That's beyond his time.
Yeah, that goes way back. But the story on that is it was kind of a marketing gimmick because there were new molds and new gear or something that were coming out. Do you remember also seeing on some 400 scale? Yes, GeminiJets 2. There you go. Or GeminiJets Select.
Yes.
So those they had fewer pieces in the production run. Those GeminiJets Select, and then there were also club models that someone asked about during the seminar.
Right.
Yeah, and no, I don't need that to come back if it means I have much more extra work to do.
You don't already have enough to do. Talking to us and going to trade shows and obviously all your duties at
This is the most fun of my job, getting to come to these events.
I know, and I'm really excited for the future. Are you going to make more appearances at day shows? Is that on your list?
I don't know. They keep.
They're always on Saturdays.
Trying to get me to come to LA, and I missed the first one in January 2024.
Yes.
And then I missed the second one in June 2024.
Are you going to miss the third one? Is that what you're trying to say?
We'll see.
Okay.
You know, I know Mike Chu pretty well. He runs that show. Folks in Amsterdam would like to have GeminiJets over there. So we'll see. I mean, it'd be great to meet the collectors in Europe who attend that big Amsterdam.
Yeah, that's another good topic to bring up. How interesting is it to work with people from all across the world? Obviously, with these retailers, there's some that are more selective than the others. You know, quantity obviously, and then you got the shipping. You know, we've talked about that thoroughly. So, how does that relate relative to your U.S. retailers, and what you can kind of provide us on that?
Some retailers need a lot more attention than others, and sometimes they're the retailers who order the least, and they give us the most in the way of things we have to help with, and so that could be challenging.
Even like somebody asking where the CGIs are when you email it to them or whatever.
Little things, or I can't get into too much
Well, of
detail
course,
here.
yeah,
I don't want anyone to think,
No.
oh, is it me? Is it me he's talking about?
No, we
But,
support all authorized GeminiJets retailers, of course.
But
so.
there are a lot of really good people in the hobby, a lot of good retailers, and look, a lot of these folks, they're just they have a business to run. In a lot of cases, it's not their first job. It's something they do on the side. And so when you're ordering a model and you're being overly picky with, oh, this looks a little crooked, or this has a little paint thing here, or the antenna came out, you know, you're really affecting the livelihood of some of these people who, again, may be doing this as a side gig. And if it is their first job, then you're really affecting, because all this going back and forth with return shipping labels. Look, if there's a legitimate reason for a return, I'll be the first one as a collector to send something back to a retailer, no qualms. Because if there's paint missing, that's reason enough to get rid of it and send it back. It's defective. I didn't buy a defective model. I bought something that should be perfect,
But
or as perfect as possible.
5 degrees tilted back on the
Yes, yeah, or it's a little wonky. You got to find a point, and I think you mentioned this earlier about balance.
Yeah.
You've
Yes.
got to find a point to where your model is acceptable.
Yeah.
And not just. I see people who come in, honestly, I'm not kidding you, into Las Vegas with a metric ruler, or some guy, a friend of mine, I know if he sees this, he'll know who I'm talking about, but I think it's cool. He uses a bottle of super glue as the measurement from like the surface to the under wing. And so he's looking at it, he has, passed on models because I just think there comes a point where you have to just say, oh, this is good, I find it looks good, put it on a shelf, move on with your day, you've got your brand new model you paid for.
Man, what a concept, man. It's been interesting because obviously I've been collecting for a long time, and it used to just be my parents getting these for me for Christmas, right? And then now, when it's my money, it's a different conversation to, well, is this justified enough, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
But over the last 2 years especially, I'm just like, if I like how it looks, I want to support my manufacturer, I'm just going to buy it, So it's one of those mindsets.
And believe me, I get it. When it comes to money, you buy a model, you want something that's new, and if it's advertised as new, it should be new. It should be a perfect, or as perfect as possible piece of metal, whatever it is, whatever you bought. And so again, we take it very personally when models show up and they're defective, especially when there's a widespread issue. It's a defect from the factory.
Absolutely. Any questions from the crowd? Anybody? No? No? What do you have to add? If any? I mean, we've talked about a wide variety of stuff. These fans
What do
really
I have
enjoyed
to add? I don't know. Aren't you tired of hearing me yet?
Never.
No, not yet. No. No.
I don't know. I just thank the collectors in the hobby. There's a lot of really nice people, and you can hear Chris Slimmer, his voice over my shoulder.
Just talking reckless.
Yes,
as he always
on and
does.
on with the microphone. Yes. He's a good guy.
Yes, he is.
And I honestly,
Yes.
you know what? Here at Airliners this year, this is the end of day 2. I have not heard him on the microphone as much this year as in previous
He's been
years.
running around doing his job.
Yeah, have you noticed?
I have.
The
yeah.
microphone has pretty much been maybe he's making up for it right now.
Yeah, exactly. He just kept talking there. Yeah, for sure. No, I have a deep appreciation for people like you. You know, your role is so unique, and I just think that's so cool to think about, and how willing you are to be interactive with us. It's so cool as collectors, and obviously, I want to take that step farther and get even more people into you. You know, get people that stumble upon my videos and find out what model aircraft collecting is like, because that's what happened for me and everybody else here. So it's just so cool to think about it that way, and I appreciate your willingness to discuss those topics with us.
I think
so
it's
cool.
important. Yeah.
It's extremely important, or else we wouldn't be doing this right now.
Right.
So it's really cool. So we won't make you talk any longer. I know that your voice is probably dead. So really appreciate you filming, JJ. That's really nice of you to do. And Todd, thank you so much as always.
My
and
pleasure.
more's
Yes.
coming up. So looking forward to it.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. And before I lose any more phone storage, thank you all for watching this video, and we'll see you all next time.
Come in there and think that we have all these old Gemini jets laying around and they're stacked up in the back in the warehouse. They're not. You know, if it's something that's rare and sold out, we don't have it either.
It's just
We have the one piece that's on display, and we don't sell those. So. Yeah.
Hence the word sold out, right?
Huh?
Hence the word sold out. Why y'all don't
Yeah.
have it in the warehouse?
Yeah. Every piece is gone except for the one piece of the release that we keep forever. And there's some that someone either forgot to put it in or sticky fingers got in the way at some point. I'll tell you what one is. It's a 200 scale Mexicana 727-200 with a gold cheat line. It's called the Golden Aztec. Yeah, someone forgot to put it in. So because of where we're located, we have a lot of folks who visit us from Mexico, and that's one thing they ask about. And I'm like, sorry, we don't have one in here because someone forgot to save one. But
maybe somebody might donate something.
yeah, I have some at home that I've got, and I know they didn't come from the cabinet either. But maybe I'll donate one of my two. Yeah, someday.
All right, once they